Warm welcome to this live studio talk show here at World Water Week. Welcome to everyone here live on set and also everyone joining us online. My name is Soledad Pinheiro Misa, and I'm delighted to be the host for this next session. Not show, maybe it's a show, but it's more like a session because the topic for this dialogue is addressing water-related disasters in an era of multiple crises. For that, I have an eminent panel with a lot of experts and a lot of knowledge. And it's my honor to introduce Erva Maksoon. You're the Deputy Minister for Infrastructure and the Minister for National Development Planning in Indonesia. Warm welcome. Besides you, we have Aude Fournot. Did I pronounce it right?
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. You're a policy analyst at OECD. Thank you. And then last but not least, we have Denise van Peppen. You're lead of international water programs at the Netherlands Enterprise Agency. Warm welcome to all of you. And it's good that we have so many different perspectives on this issue. I would like to start with you, Minister, and also because in Indonesia, from my knowledge, they've been innovating a lot, or like putting a lot of energy and efforts into finding ways to work in a proactive way. Could you share more of like what of your work so far? What are the methods that your process has led to, and what impact do you hope that it has when it comes to working proactively in these issues?
Yes, basically Indonesia is quite large, and we call it like a supermarket of disaster, because we have volcano, we are in ring of fire, and we have also tropical, and has to be adapted to the climate change as well, and the climate change impact now is getting worse because we have two seasons. Dry season and rainy season, and now it's getting longer of dry season, means the impact of the water drought, and also when the rainy season is getting short, but they are heavy, so the impact from the flood and etc. and like a landslide, and we have a practical. So the impact of how to mitigate this one. Yeah. We have we are expansive with the infrastructure. So because we need to get the resilience of the infrastructure more stronger, the existing one. And currently we are also build 61 dams, new dams, and also 500 rehabilitation of the reservoir and also lakes, because we need to more catchment area is more there. Yeah. And also we have also with the people. The people we have educate, for example, because of the sea level high, it's a little bit due to the temperature increase. So we are planned for the mangrove. We are mangrove, good for the carbon and also improving, protect the coast. And we have also some program also with the bilateral or also international, how to financial with this such as infrastructure. So many things we are elaborate, but the crisis Indonesia was also need to adapt. For example, in the beginning last year we have a COVID. We have in 2 years we have 400 million infection to 200 million people. So the government will so speed up because we need to adapt with the change of crisis.
Yeah. But we really living in an era like a multiple crisis, and you describe it as like a supermarket. But it seems like you're also trying to make sure that you have kind of I don't know if a supermarket or like of solutions.
Of solutions
as well. And you're doing what you can, and from your like governments and country perspective, but also because some countries are more affected of the climate change than others.
Yeah.
What do you see that what support do you need from the global community to be able to to still not also like just to tackle what's
Yeah.
happening, but also to act in a proactive way?
Yeah, yeah. And actually, this is good because our we are also doing some spot, but that's why the disaster risk reduction we are also including in the national planning. I mean, national planning can be all the global also, all the our partner in development can be joined and also can mitigate what the happen. For example, we have collaborate also how the due to the high risk, the sea level, and also the impact of the land subsidence because of the extraction water from the ground. So we are collaborate how to not only build the seawall, but also how to educate the people with plant the mangrove and plant the other side. And also we also get the data. This is important.
Yeah.
Actually, due to the early warning system we need also, and the database of the climate also we need to get the share from the global what the looks like will be the future as well. And also like a research also talking about the disaster will be future, we don't know, and we need to collaborate and
Right.
as well important thing actually financial.
Yeah.
This is financial is very important to us
Okay.
to more
Yeah.
stronger and also mitigate what the impact. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I know that it's like so big questions, and I would I'm like trying to, because we want everybody to be able to speak. But moving forward to the Netherlands, and Denise, the Netherlands has a strong record of working with disaster preparation and when it comes to water related hazards. But how do you make sure also, like both for the Netherlands but also as inspiration for other countries in this era, multiple crises, how do we make sure that like finding this balance of dealing with what's happening but not losing the proactive things, or the things that would actually make sure that the disasters don't increase? What is your strategy for that?
Well, that's a good one. I mean, we have been investing for centuries in our water management for flood protection. We need to. Big part of our country is below sea level. We have two big European rivers flowing to the sea in our country, so we're a delta. So we're very vulnerable, but we're also economically very strong. So we have a lot of money, so we can invest in flood prevention. So that's going very well. We have a 3-layer model where we work on prevention, so the dikes and the levees, on spatial planning, making sure we don't build in places that are vulnerable to flooding. And the third layer is crisis management. Well, our big challenge is that because of those investments, we had relatively little disasters compared to other countries. And the consciousness in the population about what can happen and how vulnerable we are is quite limited. The OECD has taught us that, actually.
The consciousness is little because
people don't know what people. Generations,
Yeah.
my generation, my kids' generation, we don't know what a water-related disaster is. So that's very
you're
strange.
laughing. You're like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everybody
This
was-
is kind of challenging for
Yeah.
the youth. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I was just on vacation in the States. In a country like, if you see what's there, what is the consciousness and the awareness of what can happen to you, and also the resilience of people is much bigger than in our country. So that's something that worries me sometimes a little bit. That's also not so easy to solve, but I think we need to work on that. We need to raise that awareness. We need to also accept that we cannot avoid all disasters. One of the big risks that we're facing is extreme rainfall, which we experienced last year or 2 years ago, causing big damage. So we need to raise that conscience and accept that we also can have disasters at times, and prepare the population for that, and also prepare the recovery.
And how do we prepare the population for that? And also without increasing fear? And How do you
Well,
see that?
we had some campaigns from the government side. In what do you need in terms of what can happen? Do you live in a risky area? What are the evacuation routes? What type of measure do you need to take in your house to have a bottle of water, have a flashlight available? So I think we need to reinvigorate those again to raise these type of to raise this awareness. Yeah.
Thank you. Pord, from your perspective, and also can you share also to add more knowledge to this discussion, what some ways that financial mechanism can help in the prevention of water-related disasters?
Yeah, so according to the IPCC, 99% of investments are increasing vulnerability and exposure to water risks and to extreme...
Say that again.
99% of investments increase vulnerability and exposure to climate and water risks and to extreme events. That's a figure from the IPCC 2022.
It's an extreme number.
So it shows the role of finance in this discussion. And so while there is attention about channeling investment, more money to finance investments for water security and to prevent extreme events, actually, financing needs will be considerably lower if we stopped building future liabilities and investing in projects that increase our exposure and vulnerability to water risks. So if we are serious about climate action, water security and prevention of extreme events, we must redirect and change how the bulk of our investments are allocated so they actually mitigate climate change, support adaptation to a changing climate, restore hydrological cycles, minimize exposure and vulnerability to water risks. And if research helps investors understand how they are exposed to water risks, to which transmission channels at macro and micro level, on the value chains, etc., there's a chance that investors will redirect their investments to decrease exposure and prevent extreme events. So that was the first point. A second important point.
Maybe if I pause you there, because we can come back to the second part, because I would like to ask you to how, because if the number is so high, it means also that in your countries, if you're not the exception, that you're doing investments that are increasing the vulnerability. So it's like in one way, like how are you working to make sure that the investments done are done in the way that Aud's been highlighting?
Yeah, actually, this is a disaster that's coming from two. We have internal, external, I mean, from the climate itself and also from the population.
Yeah.
Yeah, the population.
But when it comes to the investments that you're like both like from the government or also the investments that you through regulation can make sure that others do, how do you make sure that investments are done in a way that actually prevents and don't in one way actually contribute to increase the risk?
Yeah, that's why we have a mechanism to get the investment can be lending also to attack also the crisis, also the mitigate and not only
what
mitigate.
Mechanism is that?
Mechanism we have in the government, we have a mechanism and also partnership with the development partner also, like OECD and others partner, World Bank, etc., to get the attack one by one, and we have also mitigate all the mapping all the potential risks also disaster.
So you have a mechanism to go through the investments that are going to be done?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I would just like to clarify it also with the question. What is your...
Well, that's an interesting question also for us because spatial planning is very important and it's a strong suit. So if you look at building, water is a leading principle in the Netherlands. So we always need to check whether what we build is not in the way of water or does not affect our water resources or something's not built in floodplains and stuff like that. However, there's a strong debate in the Netherlands whether we are building residential areas or factories, etc., in flood-prone areas, so in low-lying areas. And that's a debate because we're a very small country with a very big economy with a lot of people, so we need the space. So are you going to build at 9 meters below sea level or 6 meters below sea level? And currently we're doing that. But there's a lot of voices saying that we shouldn't be doing that. So that's one of the debates that is going on. And what is the cost to society of protecting those areas?
And
Good. And now we're all in. Yeah, please.
And on that, the Central Bank of the Netherlands is doing a study comparing exposure to like flood risks and building of houses and assets. And they compare the two, and they show that there actually overlaps, which shows that actually we continue to build houses and assets in flood risk areas. And the study is showing that there is a big data gap to really, that's the main issue. It's the lack of data to really make wise investments and well-informed investments to make sure we don't increase the vulnerability.
Yeah. And how can we, since you're highlighting the importance and then also like the consequences of lack of that data, and I guess OECD, you're doing a lot, and you're giving an example like to make sure that more data is available. But what other things can be? How can we increase and like also like diminish that gap of knowledge?
So another important point for us is around incentives to invest in disaster risk reduction at all scales. There is a strong economic case to invest in water-related risk reduction for many reasons. But this strong economic case does not translate into a financial case because of the long-term benefits, the opportunity cost issues, the lack of political incentives. And countries tend to allocate far more funds to disaster response than to disaster risk reduction. And governments can access the market and policy failures that explain that. And setting the right policy and regulatory regimes to create a strong national disaster risk reduction framework is important to incentivize risk reduction, both from public and private investment. So central governments have really a key role to play to disaster to design disaster risk financing mechanism and to incentivize all stakeholders. For instance, rewarding efforts of stakeholders investing in self-protection before disasters occur.
Thank
or
you.
this kind of examples.
This time is running up, and I need to.
It's
good. You're like a bank of knowledge. So just put in it's like, and but also to tie that to how you're working in your countries to investing in this way.
Yeah, that is very interesting because if we are doing business as usual is also difficult, and a lot of incentive has to be put in this place. And also, we also have a mechanism like blending finance as well. To get means the return and investment will be economically feasible. This kind of issue because for example, build dam cannot just justify only for the irrigation and also the power plant, but also the protection of the flood. But this will be the land clearing, everything. We need to invest money. That's government has to be invest as well, and then also some investment. So we call it blending finance. We can also reduce that. This will be feasible and
you're doing that.
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. What are your comments?
Well, I would, adding to an example from one of the countries that we're working now in Pakistan, which had this horrible disaster last year, the big floods. And, the Pakistani government asked us for advice. So we came and, one of the things, based on the modeling done by our National Research Institute, DATARIS, we discovered that actually the disaster was caused not so much by the big amount of water, of course, was caused by the big amount of water, but because of all the obstacles in the landscapes and in the rivers, making sure that the water was blocked and could not flow away. Making sure that the land was underwater for a very long time. So I think spatial planning and coordinated spatial planning by central government is quite low-hanging fruit and doesn't have to cost so much money, but making sure you don't build bridges, houses, factories, etc. in places where that are vulnerable or that are stopping water flows.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And time is running up for this 20 minutes Studio Live talk show. But I think the good part is it feels like many of us want to learn more about it. And also, I think many of us find that it takes with us the importance of how to making the right investments to be able to mitigate. Thank you so much, everyone joining online. Thank you.